Good evening once again, and welcome to the City Council meeting of February the 3rd, 2015. What I would like to do first is I would like to ask everyone to stand up for a moment of silent meditation.
Council President, if we could please take this moment to just meditate on the Cruz family. We lost, Maria Cruz lost her husband over the storm break, and I would just like to take this moment of silence in remembrance of that family. Thank you.
Councilor Reyes, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Council Vasquez.
Present.
Council LaPlante. Here. Council Toomey, noted. Council Reyes. Present. Council Almonte.
Present.
Council Aquino.
Present.
Council Bernal.
Present.
Council Vice President Alvarez Rodriguez, noted, and Council President Maldonado.
Present. Councilors, I need a motion to approve the minutes of 1/3. Oh, wait.
If they didn't get them out, I don't think I got them on time because of the storm. If you didn't get them deferred,
Okay.
best to defer it.
Okay, then I will wait for them to the next meeting. All right. Public participation. I would like to recognize the first person. Again, I would like to remind all those who are going to speak to please stick to the time given, which is 2.5 minutes. When you hear the first bell, it's that you are getting very close. And when you hear the second bell, it's a knockout. Okay? So, after all the snow and all the shoveling, it's always nice to make some jokes. I would like to recognize Mr. Molly.
Went home.
Went home, okay. The second person is Mr. Russell.
Good evening, councilors. My name's Dick Russell, reside at 34 Cross Street in the city. Heard or seen any good snow jokes recently? How about the private contractors that are paid to plow the snow to the curb? The hydrants be damned. What are chances of getting telltales put on the hydrants for the plow operators, the citizens, and the firemen to recognize the hydrant locations? How about obstructed intersections like the one at foot of Franklin Street and Canal Street where you can't see a darn thing because it looks like someone tried to build a snowman on a pile of plowed up snow? Who's responsible for an accident at that intersection? If I were involved in an accident at that intersection or any others because of that reason, my legal team from the firm of Lord Howard Hertz would be emptying the city's free cash account. That's what the money's for, isn't it? That's what I was led to believe by some of our leading councilors. Have any of you councilors at large or my district councilor even bothered to take a look at the Winter Nationals drag race course for taxi cabs, AKA Cross Street between Tremont and Cedar Street? It should be changed to the drag race slalom racing, the way you have to zigzag up the street because of the haphazard plowing methods. If you want proof, just look at my Facebook page. I have all kinds of snow and street photos posted there. A lot of you know I'll post anything in the way of pictures. I know I shouldn't complain about my street not being evenly cleared when there are streets in the city that are worse in shape than mine. I saw cars east of South Union Street that are buried. Good strategy by those people. Let someone else dig it out, and tow it, pay the fine and the tow fee. Better and easier than freezing their butts off digging them out for themselves. Raise the fine and make it unattractive to do this. If the city has to dig the car out to tow it, then why shouldn't we make some money off the deal? Finally, how about getting some couches in the lobby for your more frequent executive sessions? It's uncomfortable, nothing to sit on. And with that being said, thank you for the time.
The next person in line is Brenda Rossi.
Hi, my name is Brenda Rossi. I reside at 127 Chester Street. And I just want to remind everyone that this Saturday, February 7th, from 11 to 12, there's going to be an appreciation rally for police, fire department, and first responders. Residents are encouraged to take a moment out of their day on Saturday to show appreciation for our local police officers, firefighters, and first responders. Bring posters or signs, encouragement, and gratitude to show your support. Hopefully, it's going to be at the bandstand at the Common. And if you need more information, you can call Mr. Frank Cantwell at 978-944-1859 or myself at 978-590-3715, and hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Council President, I just wanted to say to Brenda, thank you so much for coming out and always giving information to the city as to the goings-on, and I appreciate that you come here and give out this information, because without it, I mean, a lot of the city wouldn't know that it's going on. And but thanks again for coming out and letting everyone know what's going on in the city.
Thank you.
The next and last person in line is Joe D'Amico.
Joe D'Amico, 11 Lorenzo Road. Councilors, have you checked your property taxes? The mayor is requesting a raise in taxes of 2.5% in the following months. Doesn't sound like much, but wait, something is wrong. Since 2013 till now, my property value has risen $86,000 on one of my properties. That is an increase of $1,307 in my tax bill. And now you want to add an additional 2.5%, making my tax bill increase to $4,471 for 2015. So in 3 years, the increased by 1416. What are you councilors thinking about? What kind of increases do we have? No, we didn't raise taxes. We just raised the value of all the properties in the city, except for the people that had TIFs, the major people that had big corporations. Their taxes, zippo. They stayed the same for the last 3 years. At least 6 of them, they're multimillionaires.
Yep.
The other issue I have, since we have these values increased, there should never be a deficit. We should be hiring more policemen. By the way, my Social Security is going to raise 1.2% next year. It's already gone. Similar to the other people that live in North Lawrence that have no mortgages, which is 34% of houses in area code 1084. So those people there have owned their properties for a long period of time. They have no mortgage, but they're also living on Social Security. Anybody going to be able to look at that? And again, how are they going to cope with it? They can't raise their tax. They can't raise their rents because we're getting hit by people from Community Works, Saunders School, low income. Everyone is getting tax breaks except for the elderly who have been supporting the city of Lawrence for many a year. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to public hearings. Mr. Clerk, document 37614.
Document 376, 2014, notice is hereby given the City Council will hold a public hearing Tuesday, February 3rd, 2015, in council chambers at 7 p.m. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning proposed amendment to the revised ordinances to be further amended by adding the following new paragraph: handicap parking to the municipal code, concerning Bailey Street, north side from the northwest corner of the intersection of Bailey Street and Foster Street to a point 200 feet westerly of the intersection of Foster Street to a point 220 feet of the intersection of Foster Street. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity as published.
Is there any public participation, anyone that would like to speak on behalf or against document 37614, the handicap parking for 102 Bailey Street? If there is no one, councilors, what is your desire?
I make a motion to approve.
There's a motion on the floor to approve
And to wait for 30 days.
and to waive the 30 days.
Second.
If there is a second, are there any discussion? If there is none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, document 39314.
Document 393, 2014, notices hereby given, the City Council will hold a public hearing Tuesday, February 3rd, in City Council chambers, 7 p.m. The purpose of said hearing is to gather information, testimony, and public input concerning a proposed amendment to the revised ordinances to be further amended by adding the following new paragraph to the municipal code concerning handicap parking to be inserted in proper alphabetical order. Ware Street, south side from the southwest corner of the intersection of Ware Street and Fowler Street, to a point 101 feet westerly of the intersection of Fowler Street, to a point further 120 feet of the intersection of Fowler Street. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity, as published.
Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak in favor or against document 39314, handicap parking for 64 Ware Street? If there is none, councilors?
Motion approved.
There is a motion on the floor to approve. It has been properly second. Any discussion?
Could we
There
waive
is
the 30
none.
da- Could we waive the 30 days, please?
Oh, yes. Waive the 30 days.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The ayes have it. Councilors, document 4015, the mayor was supposed to give us the State of the City address tonight, but he's not able to. He requested that we postpone this until the next city council meeting, and I'm going to ask the clerk to include this in the agenda for the next council meeting. The document 4150, I'm going to send down to Budget and Finance. Let's see, all business, Mr. Plant.
Council President, we will request that you send both of those documents to the Housing Committee.
I'm going to be sending document 35114 and document 14603 to the Housing Committee. Councilors, I would like to entertain a motion to take document 3910 out of table matters.
Second?
Motion has been made and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilors, you have the language to change the 90 days, requirement for a temporary appointment. There are two versions, one with Mr. LaPlante's recommendation, and the other one leaving it as it is. So the ordinance, the proposal one is with keeping the 90 days. The proposal number two is extending it to 120, and there was something else, Mr. Plant, that you indicated that the council remove the salary if the mayor fails to follow the city charter on this matter. So what I would like to do is give you a few minutes to review both, and then we're going to enter into discussion.
Point of parliamentary inquiry?
Yes.
I believe the last time we had this was actually a motion that was offered, and I offered the motion, I also amended it. I believe that amendment and that question is still before this body.
Okay. Is that correct?
Fresh, what was the amendment in the?
Sure, so
To amend it to the proposed
Proposal two?
number two.
proportion ordinance number 2.
Yes, yes, I agree with you, and I said that we're going to delay it until we resolve in writing. Yes,
Right, and so we made a motion after that, we made a motion to table that matter.
yes, yes. Okay, So there's a motion on the floor to approve the proposed ordinance as recommended with the 120 days and the salary, to cut the salary, et cetera, et cetera. Let me point out, Mr. Plant, let me point out that I consulted the matter with Attorney Bodie in regard to the salary. The city council will not be able to do it legally.
Take out the salary, but we can't go ahead and, how about that, forget about the salary, what about that number? Just the number?
Well, no, the numbers is no problem. It's just that we cannot cut anything. Once we approve the budget, we cannot make any cuts in the budget by ourselves without the recommendation of the mayor.
That's right, so the mayor would have to go ahead and he would have to acquiesce on this.
Exactly.
If he signs this ordinance, right? can
If he
veto it.
signs the ordinance,
We have the ability to do it, do we not?
yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so, again, review both. And then I'm going to open, once you review it, I'm going to open it for discussion. And we will either approve proposal number 1 or approve proposal number 2.
Council President, I remember us having lengthy conversations over this situation, and I'm already set with my decision. I mean,
No, that's fine, that's fine.
We already went up and down this,
No, again, take your time and read it again, and just to make sure.
Have we already ordered a public hearing on this?
No. Oh, we did? When,
We in the public hearing, like,
when are we scheduled for the public hearing?
Ordinance, public hearing.
The public hearing is open right now.
The public hearing is closed, I think.
Because we tabled the document.
After the public hearing,
I didn't think we got to the, I didn't
No,
think we
no,
got to that point.
we didn't get to that point. There was a motion to approve only. Then the next
Send it,
step
okay.
was to send it to public hearing.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, so, Mr. Clerk, just for clarification,
Phew.
can we approve either 1 or 2 and then send it for a public hearing? Or,
Whichever, there's a motion on the table, as Council Plant
Yes.
suggested. Whatever happens to that motion, whether it's amended or withdrawn, then substitute for the correct one that the council, or the one the council prefers. That would probably be
okay, but my question is, would it be correct to approve these changes without doing the public hearing?
Not with the motion, not with the motion on the table.
Okay.
Something, the motion has to be disposed of one way or the other, and then the matter has to be readdressed,
Okay.
if it gets to that point.
Okay.
So just to be clear, we have not had, or have we had a public?
We
hearing?
haven't had.
No.
So this is, after we make this, approve the language, we're gonna send it to a public hearing?
Yeah.
Whatever it is we decide on.
Okay? Okay, do you guys feel comfortable now to enter into discussion? Okay, the floor is open for discussion. There is none?
I'd like to move the question then.
Huh?
Like to move
Okay.
the question if
Okay,
there's no-
there is a motion to approve the second proposal, proposed ordinance number 2, and it was properly second, I believe. It was,
Yes.
okay, it was
There's
properly
a
second.
motion by Council Plant, seconded by Council Toomey at the time,
Okay,
and
okay.
that's pending.
Then let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
This is to order a public hearing on document number 2.
Correct.
Oh,
To order a public hearing.
yes, an order of public hearing, yes. We're adding that to your motion.
That's additional. The motion only is to approve
The
the
motion is
language.
only to approve.
The language.
But you're
Only,
suggesting that we need to have a public hearing on this?
it may need another vote for order public hearing or fold of public hearing order within your motion.
So the motion should have, because we need to have a public hearing on it, to include the fact that there needs to be a public hearing on it.
Yes.
That's correct. But there is
The only problem is that Mr. Toomey is not here to second it.
Doesn't have to be here.
not necessary.
No, he doesn't need to say.
Doesn't have to be here. So my motion would be amended to actually have order a public hearing with that language.
Okay. To approve the language on number 2 and order of public hearing.
Well, right, we're not actually approving the language, but
To order the public hearing with the language.
with
With that
that language,
language.
right.
Yes,
It's better phrased. Yep.
yes, okay.
Excuse me,
Again,
that means that we can make changes.
huh?
That means that we can make changes at the public hearing.
Yes.
He's making a motion, and we can have discussion on it.
He's making the motion, okay, so that we can approve the second one.
No.
So we could approve
Okay.
the language of the second one to
We need
be,
to vote on- we need to
And
vote on it.
order a public hearing,
All right.
We just ordered.
okay? There's no discussion? Well, let me give my penny of discussion. I would prefer the number one. I believe that the 90 days are fine, since the mayor has the option to request an extension, and we can extend it. So my feeling would be that we go with the first one. Okay, so that's all. Let's take a vote on it, okay? There's a motion on the floor to approve the proposed ordinance number 2, the language as it is, and order of public hearing, okay? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
no.
No.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Vasquez.
No.
Counsel LaPlante.
No.
Counsel Toomey, noted. Counsel Reyes.
No.
Counsel Almonte.
No.
Counsel Aquino.
No.
And Counsel Brunel. Counsel Vice President, noted, and Counsel President.
That's a good one.
Counsel President?
Yes.
Yes?
I mean, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay.
6,
Uh,
1, no,
okay.
1 yes, 6 no.
Is there another motion on the floor?
He has to be on the prevailing.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. President, to order a public hearing with proposed language number 1.
There's a motion on the floor, and it has been properly second to accept the language of proposed ordinance number 1 and to order public hearing. Discussion.
Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Plant.
I'm just gonna throw this out there so we can think about it when we have our next meeting on this issue. I had a chance to talk to the mayor many months ago regarding this provision, and I will tell you that based on his experience, based on what he thinks he needs to succeed as the mayor of our city, that was the language that he could live with. I think if we go ahead and we finally, well, we're at a public hearing this evening, I think that we go forward with the language as currently is with number 1. I don't know if the mayor is gonna sign that, number 1. And the reason why I don't think he would sign it if he chooses not to is because I don't think he thinks that's enough time. And so I think we're gonna set him up potentially for failure, and I don't think that's what we wanna do, so. I just wanna throw that out there. We'll have a more robust discussion at the full council the next time, but that's the reason why. And I voted, so I can explain to you, Council President, my earlier was to preserve my rights as being part of that on the majority, which is why I voted that way in the first round. Thank you.
Are there any other discussion? Okay, then, should I wait for Councilor Bernard? Okay, there we are. Okay, we're gonna take a vote on the motion to approve proposed ordinance number 1 and order of public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? No opposition? Okay. Then the ayes have it. Okay. All right.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to take document 3.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Every table,
Oh, actually, it's ordered to a
Order
public
public
hearing.
Yes, order to public hearing, yes.
so don't we have to reach?
I'd like to make a motion to take document 34314 out of table item.
34314, there's a motion on the floor to take document 34314. It has been properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The ayes have it. Go ahead, Councilor Vasquez.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As you remember, during our last city council session, we had a discussion in reference to a TIF proposal for 1 Marston Street. We had the petitioner, Mr. Lopez, as well as Mr. Vargas here, Mr. O'Connor. And there was a revision made to the proposed TIF agreement because the assessment of the property had changed in the time between the the negotiation of the agreement and the date in which it was presented to us. I spoke with Mr. Vargas previously about this particular document, and I know that he's here as well as Mr. Lopez. Everything has been presented. They once again have come with an agreement for, to present to us, and I personally think that everything looks very much in order.
Do we have a document indicating those changes?
Yes, the document, it's right here.
This one?
Yeah, right there, that document.
Okay.
And I know Mr. Vargas is also here. So if we look at the actual agreement part.
Can you guide us through with the changes, please?
Sure, if we look at page 1, so when you open the document, on page 1, you will notice that the cost of the building, it's 1.2 million now, or $1,260,000 to be more specific. And it says that the construction and improvement will be approximately $21 million.
The one?
Yeah, page 1 of the agreement, yeah. Thank you, Councilor Renal.
Okay. Hold on a second, let me look for it. Okay.
So when we, thank you. When we look at the second paragraph, that's where we will notice the big change. So the valuation specifically, if we go then to the following page, on page 2, we also notice the $1.2 million for the base valuation.
If I recall, I believe one of the councilors requested information on what would be the actual amount of money that, that the city would be losing. Do we have that information?
Yes, we do have a graph as well that has the estimated value for the tax incentive that the petitioner will be receiving. Another important change that we have to note is that instead of beginning in fiscal year 2016, this agreement will actually start in fiscal year 2017, which is a year and a half from now, because that's when the actual development will be finished, instead of what was mentioned earlier about starting it in 2016 or fiscal year 2016. So instead of, was that clear, that portion of it? Okay, seems like it. So the previous TIF was supposed to end in 2025. This one, you will notice that ends in 2026. In reality, we're not adding one additional year. The only thing is that it has actually it's going to start a year later. And as a result of that, we see that change in the year. And we also have the breakdown in the percentages. The percentages, for the most part, there's, I don't know if there's a slight change to it, but for the most part, it seems the same. And we do see the dollar amount next to the percentages, both what the exempted amount is and what the yearly taxes to be paid to the city are. So when we look at the end, the exempted amount over the 10-year period will be 1.4, and the total yearly paid to the city will be $817,000 for the 10 years. And we also have to keep in mind that this is, I know I didn't speak specifically to Mr. Vargas about this, but when we look at the first column, this is something that we should all know, because when we vote on the budget and it comes for reclassification, every year the municipal tax rate, actually we usually change it. So right now they are basing it on the current tax rate, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Vargas. But I know that in future years that will likely change the number, and as a result of that, the yearly pay amount. So I don't know if that's something that it's accurate as I'm explaining it now, or maybe I might need clarification on it myself. Did it make sense the way I was trying to explain it?
You are right. So whatever the tax rate changes to, depending on what the council votes on next year, the applicant or the property owner will have to pay whatever that tax rate is, regardless of what's in this agreement, because it changes year after year. So
And we
if
did
taxes go
notice-
up, then he has to pay more taxes.
For instance, this year particularly, we did change the tax rate. It went down instead of going up. Mostly for the homeowners. I believe it was 54 cents lower. Looking ahead, for businesses, we don't know if it will, how high it will go or how low we could bring it. But that's something for us to consider as well, that this is a projection, not necessarily 100% accurate because, well, it's accurate as it is today if no changes are made. But if in 2020, our tax rate, it's higher, definitely the number that we will receive in paid taxes to the city will be higher. In turn, if we lower the tax rate, as a result of it, we will be receiving less tax revenue. Not just from this particular individual, but overall throughout the city when it comes to businesses.
Let me ask a question, Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Just to make sure that I understand the chart. The projected annual property tax, let's look at year 2017. The projected annual tax is $204,250. Right?
Yes.
But he will pay 95% of that only.
No. He will be exempt 95%.
Oh, he will be exempt at 95%, so he will save 194,000.
Correct.
Okay.
So the first column,
You
exempted
understand
tax,
that? Okay?
that will be basically the property owner's savings. The taxes paid to the city, that will be the revenue we collect.
Okay. So the second year, again, he will save 198,889. The third year, he will save 203,861. The fourth year, he will save 175, et cetera, et cetera. So he will save a total 1.4, almost $1.5 million.
Yes.
In taxes. When we make a comparison of this to other TIF agreements that we have, how does this compare to others?
Unfortunately, I do not have that information.
Do not have that
with me.
information.
I don't know if Mr. Vargas.
Mr. Vargas, can you tell us, for example, how different this is from, for example, on the property the new business that came on Andover Street? You remember
Yes.
the warehouse that,
The bakery.
how,
Asai America or
Muffintown.
Muffintown or Asai
Yes.
America? I don't have the exact agreement with me now, but I do know that most of the TIFs that we put out are comparable to one another as far as how generous the city is. This one is a little bit more generous than the Asai America TIF that we put together, slightly more generous than that.
how slightly more generous?
I'd have to look at it. I know we started 100%, 90%, 80%. So, the first 3 years, this is a little bit more generous than the other one, maybe plus or minus 5%. I don't have the exact document with me now.
You're saying that the other one, we gave them 100%?
We did, but we gave them 100% the first year, but it escalated.
You had a big.
It reduced a lot faster than this one. So we're gonna do 95, 95, 95. So even though the first year he's not getting 100%, he's getting 95% for 3 years, which is more generous than the first 3 years of the previous agreement.
Would you say overall that the percentage overall are comparable, or is this more generous than the other?
Then the previous, the one that I worked on, this is more generous than the previous one is.
Okay, but we don't know how much generous.
Not off the top of my head, I don't have the numbers, but I do know this is more generous than the previous one.
Councilors, any questions?
Mr. President, I also like to note something that it's part of the cover letter that Mr. Vargas included. If we look at paragraph 2, and then we look at section A, B, and C, there's a comparison when it comes to other type of development.
Okay.
So I know that there was a big discussion as to why someone will invest $25 million into, come and invest $25 million in the city, and at the end of the day have the value of the property be, I believe it was $7 million at the end. And if we see comparing to other similar type of projects or big projects that have happened, Loft 550, which is right on Broadway, had a $16.5 million investment, yet their assessment is only $4.5 million. So investors don't necessarily always have to come in and put money because the value of the property will be equal to the investment. They might get it through rental income, long-term. So it doesn't necessarily have to be focused on the actual value of the property. It could be based on other sources of incomes that they might receive, which in turn will be, a good investment. At the end of the day, they're here to make money. Mr. Lopez came to the city of Lawrence, and I'm sure he's here because he cares about the city, but at the same time because he wants to be able to financially have results into this. So I don't think that he will ever make a $25 million investment unless there was an opportunity to make profit on it. And I'm sure that Loft 550, 108 Newberry Street, as well as Asahi America, they wouldn't come invest, combine close to $30,000. Profit was made.
Is Mr. Lopez going to pay taxes on 2015 on the value of 1.2?
They will, in the current fiscal year?
Yes.
On the value of the property today, yes,
And also 2016?
correct.
Okay,
On the current value of the,
okay. Councilors, are there any other questions?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
I asked a question on the Budget and Finance Subcommittee meeting, and to me, it was very important, because it will make a difference in my vote. I asked if it was gonna be able to transfer to someone else. And they say, at the end, they say no, yes, because if they stay within the same type of business, they could. First, they say no, but it was a misunderstanding. My
Do
concern,
you still want a straight answer on that?
yes.
Okay. Mr. Vargas?
What I wanted to have a clear answer, a yes or no answer is, is this gonna be sell like condominiums that you have the property? I just wanna say, I wanna make my point clear. This is fundamental for me to take the vote. Because if we are giving this to a big amount, such a big amount of discount, where the first 3 years, they only gonna pay $10,000. And we're asking, the amount that is here, the value amount that is here, I'm not convinced. I'm not an expert, but we have resident here that says that his reevaluation of his property went up 86,000. Like, the amount, it doesn't seem right for such a big investment to be, the value to be it could be $7.5 million. Like, it doesn't make sense. They are
Okay.
the experts.
Can we go back to your question, to your first question?
Yes,
Is this transferable if the buildings is sold, or is it sold as condos?
Yes, I want to
Mr.
know.
Vargas?
So from what I understand the question to be is if the property is sold, will the TIF agreement transfer with the property? And the answer to that question is if the business continues to operate as it does now that you're agreeing on or potentially agreeing on this TIF, then yes, the TIF can be transferred over to the new property owner. If the new property owner says, I'm going to start some other use, then the city has, it's within its right to decertify the TIF agreement.
I also remember in the conversation that I had with you, and I don't know if you have that information, I asked you for one particular business that we did. I don't want to mention the name, but did you get to confirm that, if it was transferable?
Yeah, so that TIF agreement has since been decertified, because that business is no longer in operation, so they're no longer receiving the benefit of the vote that the council took some time ago.
All right. Is there any way that we can know? Like, it's a big investment. Is there any way that we can know if they're gonna be sold by, like, different units?
Or if they're gonna condonize it, you mean?
Yes.
I mean, I can't give you that certainty. Maybe the developer could give you that certainty, but it's my understanding that the developer is planning on being a landlord, and
Which
owning
means
the-
that they're gonna have different tenants, has tenants or has owners?
Exactly. So if they were to condonize, then they would no longer be the owner. I mean, they could manage the
Because that's
condo
something that
association.
it's not clear to me, and I would like to have some, something writing, like if it's gonna be I just want people to be honest and say, it's a business, we are trying to get money, it's a big investment, we do have people that are gonna buy the units, but I asked that question, and that question wasn't answered.
Yeah. I mean, and to your point, the 25 Marston Street, that was condonized. They did turn it into condos. Initially, it wasn't, and the developer or the property owner did come and sell off portions of the building, and they're not condo units. So there is precedent to what you're saying. It has been done before. My understanding is that the business owner will continue to operate it as a landlord, where he will own the entire building and lease it out. And the developer is here, he could answer those questions probably better than I can,
Yeah.
if you're interested in hearing that from him.
Okay.
Good evening, Counselor. Good to see you again. To answer your question directly, the answer is no. We are not going to condoize the property. I spoke about this at our first meeting. The intention here is to develop the property and have it leased out. I am going to be an owner-occupant in the property. But my question to you is, let's just say, for some reason, the building does become condoized. The way I understand the agreement to be, the TIF agreement goes away. It gets rescinded or decertified. So there's no risk to the city if the use of my building changes, we lose that benefit.
That's exactly what he explained to me. Can you?
Right. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, so and Mr. O'Connor just provided this information, so if it's condonized, and so it's different, right? So if you have 100% of a building, 71,000 square feet, versus now you have 10,000 square feet of a condonized unit, or 50,000 square feet, it changes. So each one of those new property owners, each condo owner would have to come before you guys again for the TIF. So the function is still the same, but you're essentially subdividing a parcel, or you're subdividing a building. So each one of those new subdivisions would have to become before the council
Okay,
to get an approval.
where is that set in the contract?
It doesn't have to say that, because if that does
To
happen.
get my vote, I want it in the contract.
And let me clarify that. If that were to happen, before we even able to move forward, we would have to come back to the council. So there is protection for the city council to be able to say yea or nay to this new
With the
TIF agreement.
percentage of people that were supposed to be employed for the different companies, there was nothing said on the contract, and when we asked the question, they say, you know what? There's no way that we can do that. It's up to them to do it. So we need something in writing. We're not gonna be here forever. We're not gonna be here for 10 years. So if we want things to be done the right way, why not writing it? I'm not gonna be here for 10 years.
Okay, let me, Mr. Vargas, before I recognize Sandy and then Ms. LaPlante. I was under the impression that if the property is subdivided into condos, that each condo portion would be proportionally given the benefit.
Well, Well, the benefit is for the tenants. So if you're a tenant of 1 Marston Street and Mr. Lopez is receiving this tax relief from the city, then he's able to pass on those savings to his tenants.
No, that's not my question. My question is, if he divides that into condo units, okay? I was under the impression that each condo unit will receive a proportion according to the square footage of what we have already approved, but that is not the case.
Yeah, so for 25 Marston Street, for example, they came before the city council, they got a TIF. A few years later, they decided to have condo units within the building. So those individual property owners or individual condo owners had to come back before the council and get approval from the council again, because though it was the same exact building, the makeup of what was agreed upon isn't the same. So now you have a condo unit that's 25,000 square feet versus an entire building that's 70,000 square feet. So that's not the same. So that would have to come before the city council again.
So technically, the original owner will get the full benefit, but when it's subdivided, the additional owners will have to come forward to us, and he might be able to get additional benefits?
No.
Or subdivide those benefits that has already been allotted?
Yeah, and the only example we have is the 25 Marston example, where this exact same thing that Councilor Aquino is referring to happens. The building was purchased, it was redeveloped, they came before council, got a TIF, they were able to attract tenants. Somewhere in the process of them owning the property, they thought it was beneficial for them to have condo units versus owning all of the building. Per that transaction, they had to come back to the city council to get approval for, individual TIFs within the same building.
Okay, Councilor
Thank you,
Almonte.
Council President. In that instance that happened with that property, was the city able to go back and retrieve the TIFs money that had been given to them in the red? Was that money able to be recuperated from the city, to the city, because they didn't agree with the TIFs agreement? They didn't go through with the contract? Because this is a good example for you right here, right? 2017, he has the building, it's a beautiful place, it's $27 million building, but then all of a sudden he decides after the first 2.5 years that he wants to condo it. And he does this after only paying $20,000 in tax revenue to the city. I would like it to say somewhere in there that if that does happen before, that money needs to come back to the city, that the $194,000 that we gave him as a TIF the first year, that the $198,000 that we gave him as a TIF on the second year, and that the third year at $203,000, that we got all that money back, because the TIF agreement now becomes something else. Because More the Savvy, it already happened to us once with 25 Marston Street. It's not going to happen to us again. There being that I'm not going to allow for parcels to be, and then all this money to get put in there, and then all of a sudden I get all of this benefit that I'm saving myself 2, 4, 6, close to, I'm going to say, I want to be on the nice side, and I'm going to say $500,000 that needs to come back to the city because I didn't comply with the TIF agreement. I think that was unfair that it happened the first time, and I would behoove myself if you allowed it to happen for the second time. I would be so upset, because this has to do, look at, you have people on Social Security who have owned buildings and properties in this city for a very long time. They do not have new buildings. They do not have the luxury of having really nice homes these houses are super old. They have been lived in for many years. Many of families have lived in those places. They don't have the money to put these places as nice as all these other people are that are millionaires are coming into our city to put money in here. But guess what? Then it could happen like that again. And then we have property owners back here who, we didn't raise the taxes, but how was it that we were able to raise all these property values when we don't even have enough people to come in and say, okay, this is how much you pay? When was anybody from the city in any of these properties to say this is how much your property value is going to increase? How was that even done? Who went out and had these properties appraised? How was this done, that the city all of a sudden could just say, oh, I'm just gonna raise your property values by $86,000? Or throw an extra 25 feet in the back of your property because we don't wanna do with the alleyways anymore? It's a lot of crap that's been happening that it shouldn't be happening, okay? Just like when they say, oh, no tax increase, but we're gonna raise your property values on that year, and then the next year, like, well, we're getting a proposal this year that they're gonna raise the property values on the new property values, and we're gonna put taxes on them now for an extra XYZ amount of money than whatever it is. It's unfair, and it shouldn't be done. It's unfair and it's hurtful. We have them sitting, they come here all the time and they sit here to tell us exactly how it is that they feel about these situations. And how is it gonna be fair to him that he has to pay on top of his property value going up, which it probably really didn't, because I'm sure that the house is still the same. He hasn't been able to make repairs to the house to make it an abundance of now that he could raise the rent and all of this stuff. It's not gonna happen, it hasn't happened. I would love to know who went out to these properties and said, this is how much your property value is gonna be because you put up a new roof, or because this, or you know, this is a beautified place now. He's not gonna be able to raise his rent by $100 or whatever it is to be able to pay back all this money in taxes that's gonna be done. But my thing going back to this is that if not even this one, 25 Marston Street, after they sold it and they did whatever the heck they did over there, did they pay us back the money that they owed us because of the TIF increment?
I don't believe so.
So unless something like that is put here, it's gonna be a no vote for me.
I don't think can I just point of information?
Because
hold
no, it's
on.
unfair, it's unfair,
Hold
it's
on.
unfair,
Is this a point of order?
it's unfair.
Just a point of information.
Point of information.
I want to address that.
Just with regard to how a TIF functions and the ability to recollect, the Mass Department of Revenue tells us as a municipality what we have to collect. They tell us that we have to reappraise our properties, which we do. We actually send out an appraiser. And if someone thinks the appraiser...
Remember those 3 houses? Nobody went to
Can I
another
just
3
finish,
houses
please?
to appraise them.
Let's not.
That's the
let-
biggest
hold-
crock of crap I've
Unlike
heard yet.
a home sale appraisal, they physically go into your property, they don't always have to do that, but they do have to send someone out there who files a report. It's on file with the city, you can go look at it. And I know people that have increased abatements, I have them at my own neighborhood meeting, people come up to me, you file an abatement with the tax collector's office. And you do it, a lot of people do it, people that had their properties raised this year have filed for abatements. That's what the Mass DOR, that's the tool that they allow us to do. But the same thing with the TIF, the Mass DOR is allowing us as a municipality to collect less taxes. So once we've collected less taxes, the point of the TIF is collecting the taxes. So we collect less property taxes because DOR has said we're allowed to. We cannot go back and recollect the taxes. We set a rate, Mass DOR approved that rate based on the TIF that we chose to adopt. Once we've adopted that, we don't have the ability within the tools that Mass DOR gave us to go back and recollect tax money.
Okay, but this is called an agreement. That's why it's called an agreement. We agree that if you sell the property before then, you're gonna owe us that money because you did not comply with wanting to be there for this amount of time.
not how it
And that's the reason why we're setting,
Okay.
That's not how it works.
well, it should work that way because then I
This-
think, why wouldn't it then?
Mass
It makes no
DOR
sense to me.
Councilors,
Makes
councilors.
no sense to me.
councilors,
Then you
You have to
councilors.
bring it up to
We're
the
getting
legislature.
State law, like
We're
you-
getting ripped
Hold it,
off.
hold it. Let's not talk out of line, okay? Let's continue in the order that we are supposed to. Are you finished?
Yes.
Mr. Plant?
Thank you. I had a question regarding employment. I'd be way wrong on this, but I don't think I am. I believe that we are not able to go ahead and, in the document, prescribe the number of Lawrence jobs that are required to be in there. Am I right? We can't do that as part of the document, right?
We could put language in there, but it's, again, just how it was in the previous TIF. It's not binding, but.
That's right.
But we can't have language in there that reflects that.
Right. But again, they don't have to adhere to it. They can put it in there. It's merely suggestive. It has no bearing. It's got no weight, really. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I mean, it sounds to me as though we have a fundamental misunderstanding as to what a TIF is. And the Council for Mount Vernon, I think, did a very good job in trying to explain exactly what it is. First of all, the city's not losing any money. No money's being lost. The city is not in a position to be giving money back to organization. It would have to go before the council. Any disbursement of money would have to go before the council. We're not giving money back. All the TIF is saying is something very simple. Continue to give us the money that you're required to give us based on the property that you own. We also understand the TIF says that you are going to make some improvements. You're going to be buying equipment. You're going to be doing a number of different things, renovations. You're doing a lot of different things to the tune of $25 million worth of improvements or so. All the TIF says is to try to make our city more attractive in comparison to other communities, we are going to provide a reduction in how much you're going to be paying to us to make it more attractive. We are getting no less money. As a matter of fact, we're getting more money with the TIF. And the schedule here shows how much money we're getting every year, in addition to the baseline. We're getting more money every year.
I think you
Let me
misunderstood
repeat
me.
myself. We are
Don't
getting
speak out of line.
more
You're doing it on
money
purpose, right? Of
every
course.
year. Every year, okay? To the tune of, by the time this thing is completed, 10 years after this agreement goes into effect, the city is going to be receiving an additional, if I'm reading this correctly, at first it's $178,000. What's the final year, Mr. Abel, on 2027? Do we have that, what that would be?
Of the increment or of the
Very
total?
final, everything, no, not in aggregate, but that last year of tax, that 1 year, how much are we getting that last year?
100%.
100%, which is, what would that be?
$277,000,
200 what?
77.
We're getting $270,000 on the last year of that thing. So every year, we're getting more and more money, starting off an extra 10,000 to 200.
That's starting 2027.
Where do you see that number? Because I got glasses on and I still can't see it.
So you have to
Because
go
the
all the way
TIF
to
is
the
only
right
for
where it
10
says, total taxes? Because if you look at the wage broken out,
What did you just say?
Yes, Sandy.
What did you just say? Repeat yourself. What did you just say?
Listen.
Because if you want to go there, we could take it there,
Counselor,
all right?
Counselor
So relax
Almonte.
your mouth.
minutes.
Relax your
Counselor
mouth.
Almonte.
Don't do it. Don't do it out here.
Counselor
Let me tell you that
Almonte,
right
you are
now.
out of line.
Want to recess?
Don't do it.
I'd like to make a motion to
Don't
go into
play with me.
recess.
Don't play with me because you don't know me like that.
Motion to
So don't even
recess.
go there. That better be
Council
the last time
President.
you disrespect
There's a
me like
motion
that,
to
right?
recess. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. 2 minutes, 1 minute, whatever it takes.
2 minutes.